Well, good greetings, everyone. Dr. Jeff here with you this week. This week we got Maya still here. She's got a couple weeks left before she goes back to school, and I know she's got a great topic for us this week. And what do we got to talk about?
We're going to talk about the big topic of arthritis.
Oh, that's a big topic.
Yeah, and there are like different types of arthritis. Some of the autoimmune ones would be rheumatoid, lupus, or psoriatic arthritis. But the most common is osteoarthritis. And this one is more of your typical wear and tear of a joint. So arthritis, as kind of a definition, how we would describe it, is the destruction of the cartilage within a joint.
Yeah, the cartilage is kind of that smooth surface at the end of your bones that protects the bone. Also provides a nice smooth surface for movement of the joint. As you mentioned, that cartilage can start to get destroyed. And what can happen sometimes is, you have a trauma, you fall or you bang your knee or you bang your shoulder and you kind of think, oh, it's okay, and you kind of, after a week or two, it kind of goes away. But what happens is one, you get an inflammatory action, and inflammation is not very good for a joint, and those inflammatory cells can start to degenerate and eat away your cartilage. Also, that joint's not going to be working as smoothly as it did before. It's going to be off a little bit, and wear and tear over days, months, years will actually start to wear away certain parts of the cartilage in the joint, and you start to develop arthritis. So even though your trauma might have happened, you were 10 or 16 or 22, when you're 40 or 50, all of a sudden you've got this arthritic problem because that problem wasn't solved years ago.
Yeah. So there's a couple symptoms you can have, and it varies from person to person, but the common one, as you mentioned, inflammation can definitely occur. And also typically people come in and in the mornings they're super stiff, and then throughout the day it starts to go away, and then if there's overuse they might feel sore. But then when they go to bed, wake up the next day, they could be stiff all over again. So it's kind of this repeating cycle that we see.
Yeah, and we were just mentioning overuse, so we talked about osteoarthritis as being an overuse type of injury. Same thing as I talked about with injury. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again to the joint, again the joint starts to wear away, and you're going to get your inflammation, and it's going to get quite stiff in the morning. And that's one of the biggest things that we find is people will come in and we ask them what it feels like, and they'll say, I get up in the morning, my knee kind of creaks and feels really stiff and everything, but once they get up and get walking, it starts to feel a little better. So what are we going to do if you've got arthritis? Like arthritis is not something that's easily treatable. With it, we want to control the inflammation. So some people will take some anti-inflammatories, over-the-counter anti-inflammatories, and that's fine if you want to take Aleve or ibuprofen. But you have to realize that there are side effects to those medications, and one is it eats your stomach away, which isn't good. So you always want to take those with food. And I play sports with people, and before they play, they're popping their 400 milligrams of ibuprofen before they can play to loosen things up. That's one thing you do, but there's also some general health things you can do. One thing is with your diet. Some foods are more inflammatory prone, and we want to reduce that inflammation. As we mentioned, the inflammation can eat away that cartilage. So we want to get rid of some of that inflammation. So staying away from your high processed foods, like your processed meats and your packaged types of foods. Stay away from your red meats, things like that. Eat more chicken and more fish. Eat your vegetables or something in the vegetables that anti-inflammatory properties that are really good for you. I know my wife likes the idea that she can drink red wine and have dark chocolate to help with her knee arthritis. She likes that idea out there. But you can actually get into an anti-inflammatory diet, very much like a Mediterranean type of style of diet. Is really good. Get rid of those white bread and white rice and white potatoes, things like that. Is really good for you. Also, you want to move the joint. Movement's always good. One way your cartilage gets its nutrition is from movement. That synovial fluid has to swish around and provide nutrition for the joint. So what you want to do is move the joint. So you don't want to overstress it and overuse it, but simply walking or riding a bike, using elliptical if it's your knees, doing some light weights if it's your shoulder, things like that. Even going swimming a little bit is really good for these types of joints, because you want to move it and provide nutrition for the cartilage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's some information for you on arthritis. Something with the diet that you didn't mention but people wouldn't like to hear is sugars. You
Yes.
gotta avoid sugars.
Yes.
And I know I don't like to hear that. I like to
Yeah.
snack on some sweet treats.
Yeah. Get rid of our cookies.
Yeah, but avoiding sugars can also be a benefit for that diet as well. I learned a ton about arthritis today, so thank you, Dr. Jeff, and I hope you did too. If you guys have any video requests, any topics that you want us to cover, we're always happy to take those in. You can put them in the comments, you can send an email, and we'd love to cover those. Otherwise, here at Goldsworthy Wellness, you'd think I'd have it after being here so many months. We got your back.